Before Russia widened its war on Ukraine 22 months ago, the Kremlin's elite airborne corps had 4 divisions plus several separate brigades. Altogether, a force numbering around 40,000 paratroopers. But so many of these troopers have been killed or wounded in Ukraine that, in August, the Kremlin announced it would form a new air assault division, the 104th, by enlarging and rearming an existing brigade. In theory, Russian paratroopers get more training than regular army soldiers do. In practice, the 104th has organized too quickly for significant training. Now the new division is in combat on the left bank of the Dnipro River, and is struggling. 2 months ago Ukrainian Marines motored across the Dnipro and, under the cover of artillery, drones and intensive radio jamming, secured a bridgehead in the settlement of Krinky on the otherwise Russian-held left bank. It's a new front in the war, one the Ukrainians hope to exploit in order to push Russian occupiers from southern Ukraine. Russian Marines, reinforced by an army motorized regiment, failed to dislodge the Ukrainian Marines. So after some cursory training in September and October, the Airborne Corps' new 104th Division arrived in southern Ukraine, and took the lead. The main bet will be on us and the Marine Corps, one 104th Division trooper wrote in a letter that circulated on social media. It's not a safe bet. It seems an initial assault by the 104th or an adjacent air assault unit ended in failure when Ukrainian forces struck several of the attackers' BMD fighting vehicles. It's apparent by now the Ukrainians have concentrated their best drones, artillery, air defenses and other supporting forces in and around Krinky, even though this requires troops in other sectors, Avdiivka and Bakhmut, in particular, to hold their positions with less support. What first catches your eye is the work of artillery on both sides, and to be objective, the Nazis are doing much better, the trooper wrote. Russian propaganda characterizes Ukrainians as Nazis, even though Ukraine is a democracy and Russia is an authoritarian state whose forces routinely perpetrate war crimes on civilians in territories they occupy. Around Krinky, Ukrainian artillery fires more frequently and more accurately than Russian artillery does, the trooper wrote. They probably don't have a hunger for shells. Ukraine's cluster shells are particularly dangerous as they rain down, where our troops occasionally walk. Ukraine's explosives-laden drones are everywhere, all the time. Kamikaze drones create a huge radius of destruction, the trooper wrote. While it's possible to fight through the swarms of drones, it's much more difficult to retrieve any wounded. The trooper recalled one injured Russian who lay on the battlefield for 2 days awaiting rescue. The Ukrainians' advantages in artillery and drones aren't the only problem, the trooper claimed. He also bemoaned a lack of leadership and coordination in the Russian forces around Krinky.